Oh, right. Let me get the.
Alright, hello everybody.
All these up.
Welcome back to Phoenix Wright, where the people are. I'm Lou Jack.
I'm Taylor, and I'm turning down the volume. Hold on. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit. Let me just check our audio.
Yes.
Keep talking.
Talk. I've been jumping between Shantae games and Borderlands games, and man, I think Borderlands 3 is my favorite, which is funny because everyone seems to hate Borderlands 3. But like, you get 3 different action skills and then a 4th one, and the skill trees are
Okay,
full.
here's my counter. I think it's a thing where it's like I don't think almost every game has at least one good thing about it, and all the best games have just a lot of good things and a minimal amount of bad things.
Yeah.
And I think with, for instance, like Arkham Knight, the reason why I always point to Arkham Knight as a good game specifically is that it has really snappy combat mechanics that are very satisfying, and you can get really good throughout the game. They're very responsive, so you feel really good at them. But then people will be like, "Oh, like the plot isn't like that dense, and it's not like that crazy. Like it's not particularly thematic. You know, it's no Wolfenstein." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's fair."
But like, if I could distill that specific part of the mechanics, that's what I'm looking for. Well, with Borderlands 3, I think that it had a lot of neat stuff. It had the vehicles. It had the the various like weapon brands having their own like style, and then the sort of random drop system being a little more refined. But
hold on a minute. Did you check the audio? Can you hear?
Yes.
Can you hear my laundry machine?
I can hear you. I can hear I.
Can you
and
hear
I
my
did
laundry
not hear
machine?
any laundry.
Okay, good. Continue what you were saying.
But I think, if I recall correctly, that people's main issues with Borderlands 3 was it wasn't like as what's the word, like thematic. It didn't have those what I would call like Wolfenstein moments where you're like, oh man, this hit me right in the feels.
Yeah.
It had a few, but like, yeah.
Also, revisiting Borderlands has made me realize that I can refer to the weird Mandalorian Boba Fett situation as like a Borderlands situation. Because
it came first?
Yeah, because if you played Borderlands 2, it was great. And then if you knew Borderlands 3 was coming out, you know that before that, there was a new DLC released for Borderlands 2 called Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, which is great. The problem is, that DLC, being sort of a prelude to the 3rd game, means it also takes place after Tales from the Borderlands game, which means if you play all BL2 and then all of the DLC, you will at some point get to Scooter being dead and be like, what the fuck happened to Scooter?
Well, you see, Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah, he just Dr. Strangeloved himself into space. Scooter was cool. I miss Scooter. Anyway,
I hope my hold on, let me check one thing on my end. Because I'm wondering if I can make my audio any better. If I go to,
I could try to turn you up on the Discord.
No, don't touch anything over there.
Okay.
I meant like if I go to like advanced studio quality.
Also, I gotta say, people talk shit about the
Alright.
Borderlands 3 story, but I didn't think the story
Do I sound
was
better? I should.
Yeah, you sound better. Well, I mean, you sound the same to me.
Yeah,
but
I went from.
do you sound better in the stream?
I went
that
from.
I
I checked my input and it was set to like minimum of CD quality, and I was like, oh, I can go up to studio quality, which I'm sure helps a little bit when you're already being compressed by Discord. So
I can
hopefully
be the
that helps.
studio boy. Yeah.
We can't all be game grumps with our like studio quality microphones
No,
hardlined
some
into
of
the
those.
computer.
No, some of those are just like those podcasts on a budget who have like dirty towels draped over their microphones for sound dampening, which is a real thing I heard on a podcast once.
No, I'm pretty sure you heard that from me secondhand or something, because I was mentioning that's what they did for.
I probably did, but I
No
literally
Evil.
just heard that on a
Yeah,
podcast that I was listening to yesterday.
for the show No Evil, which I highly recommend. Go watch the show. Give Betsy Lee all your money, and
Yeah, Betsy Lee's
I
great.
don't know. I'm gonna put in my ticket that Betsy Lee is legit, and hopefully doesn't like have some great scandal in the next like 5 years.
I mean, I hope so, given how good No Evil is. No Evil is the kind of show that gives off vibes where you think,
But
I don't think the one making this
it's got
is
immaculate vibes.
probably a bad person, you know?
But that being said, go check it out. Give them their your support, especially because like being YouTube gives a lot of benefit, or has been more on the side of like long viewerships. So it's a lot better on YouTube nowadays if you're like someone who does like long form documentary stuff. But on the other hand, it makes it way harder to get on the algorithm if you're an animator, because every second counts.
Yeah.
So please go support your animators. Betsy Lee is one. Right. But where is I going with that? Right. They mentioned this in one of the bloopers that when recording, at least one of them, while recording the lines, they had basically like a big box. I'm guessing like a refrigerator box or something big enough that you could put someone in it. They had a big old box, and then would just like put like some blankets or like a blanket over it, and that would be their sound room.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that actually might work. Like that would insulate a lot of the sound.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
Yeah, if you're in a really echoey area, you can just bundle up, unless it's warm, and then my heart goes out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, support your animators, for real. Going back to Borderlands 3 real quick, I was gonna say, before we got, like, sidetracked from that, people talk a lot of shit about its story, but, like, I don't think Borderlands 3's story is bad. I think the most egregious thing about it is Lilith going to Ava and being like, Sanctuary is yours, and then flying off into the sun. Like, you tell me Tannis is there, Amara is there, Mo's is a soldier, Crimson Raiders was started by a soldier, why not just have the soldier in charge? Like, I don't think Mose has the weird accent problem where he's going to screw everyone over by seeking glory and being reckless instead. That's what got him kicked out of the military. I don't think Mose would do that. I don't think she would. She could. I don't know.
Not that she would, but if she must, I bet Maxie could. Maxie sounds like Moxie if she has a mech. She summons Maxie, who is like the mech suit. Anyways,
Maxie, I'm just here for some learning.
Not if she would, but if she had to, I feel like she had to, like, run the ship.
Like, Mose comes across to me anyway as someone who wouldn't step up
voluntarily, but
if she had to, yeah. It'd be like a Mordecai and Brick situation, because Mordecai and Brick didn't want to be leading, but they were stuck with the role when Lilith was all like, oh no, I can't lead.
Now, don't get me wrong, okay? She's an intelligent woman, but she's used to running something with like a handful of people. I mean, it could be a lot bigger, but like,
yeah.
Just if I were Moxie, I'd be like, look, I'll try to keep this thing from falling apart in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, Moxie.
We gotta find someone who's a bureaucrat at heart.
I could totally see Moxie being in charge. That would be amazing. Mose feels the most obvious to me because if you choose to believe that her leadership
if I replay Borderlands 3, I'm maining Mose.
Yeah, that's fair. I would main Zane. I'm kind of just swapping between them right now. But the thing about Mose is that
then we'd have the full set.
Yeah, the full set. But the thing about Mose is that they came up with like alternate universe timeline outfits for everyone. One universe where they're bandits and the other where they never went to hunt vaults. And the reason why I would point to Moses being one of the more obvious new leaders for Sanctuary is because in the universe where she doesn't become a Vault Hunter, she becomes like a prestige soldier and ends up as like a commissar. So like, I feel like she probably has leadership abilities. You know?
I just looked it up. Is it Mose, Saint of Iron?
That's the bandit one.
Skin. Yeah, that's the bandit one.
Also, I'm not gonna lie to you, I think it took... I don't think I realized how much of a baddie Mose was until I saw her in the bandit outfit. with the tattoos. I was like, oh wow, I didn't know you looked like this.
Uh,
Hi, Mose, what's up? You wanna hang out?
just that. Oh, it's just that quote, the TikTok sample of just like, I didn't. What is it? This man got a zillion times hotter after his life fell apart. But it's just, it's just like everyone when they have their like villain arc and get a cooler outfit.
Anyway, we're supposed
Now,
to be
if I
playing.
recall correctly, that original was about the like, not Commodore guy who shows up in one of the later Pirates of the Caribbean films as like a regular
Oh
pirate.
yeah, the one who showed up and was like,
But
"Hey, can I join your crew?" while pointing a gun at him, and he's just like, "Okay."
Yeah, I believe that's like where the original was actually about. But I do love whenever it's like it'll just be any character who just like looks tired. It was, what was it? Metro Man, when he became Music Man and he grew a bit of a beard and he's got like just the bathrobe on and it's like this guy got a zillion times hotter after his life fell apart.
Itachi from Naruto and just like his whole life. Itachi didn't necessarily have a villain arc. He just had a shit hand that was dealt to him, and man, he wasn't even a villain. He was never a fucking villain.
What is I'm trying to think of the opposite. Like, what does Itachi look like if his life fell together? No, hold on. We can't get on a Naruto thing.
No,
Proceedings on the current trial.
No, we're
for
supposed
today.
to. It's been 11 minutes. It's been 12 minutes. It's been almost 12 minutes. We're supposed to be doing a.
Oh, I should have grabbed my gavel. The court will suspend proceedings for the current trial for today. I'm gonna go grab my gavel, just because it's fun to use.
Oh yeah, do that.
Cody Hackins' testimony has revealed new possibilities in this case. In fact, things may have happened very differently than we previously thought. I am glad that he's wrapping this up for us, because it's actually been a while since we logged in. A steel samurai, seen by Miss Holdbig, may have been the victim, Jack Hammer. The scene of the crime was not Studio 1, but Studio 2. And those in the trailer did not have time to commit murder. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't know why I became the ether guy for a second there. Sorry about that.
Yo, the solid guy?
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor. Life is pain and so
My description
is death.
That's my description. Well, that was my description of that. It's like it sounds like your version of this character is just like constantly uncomfortable to be alive.
It's because he is. I mean,
Like he's been summoned up from a pile of mud and needs to like go back to the spirit realm.
Ah, damn it! I dropped my controller again. Fuck.
I would love if that's what happened with. I would love if that's what happened with orcs in Lord of the Rings, where, like they're really durable, but you know an orc is actually dead because it just turns into like a rich soil, like it just crumbles.
Right.
Cool.
I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't get that reference because look, I sat through all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. That doesn't mean I was fucking paying attention to them. They were long and they were boring. I'm sorry, but my ADHD wouldn't let me care.
Well, just follow my logic that if the orcs, at least the orcs made by Saruman, if they're born out of the earth through some kind of dark magic, then I figure that it's like an ashes to ashes, dust to dust thing, where if they die, they should turn into like a pile of like clay and sand and stuff.
Right.
Which, that'd be cool. That'd just be really cool effects. They just look like if you dropped a chocolate cake on the ground and just kind of...
Yeah. Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry. Your homework is to find the answer to the following question. First, solve this formula. Why would Mr. Hammer steal the Why would Mr. Hammer steal the steel samurai costume? Also, who killed him and why? Find the answers for me by tomorrow.
That's a lot of homework.
Mr. Edgeworth?
Do you think this guy has a weak chin and that's why he has so much beard?
That's my secret cap. everyone with a beard might have a weak chin. That's just how life be, you know.
That's just how life be.
They should have like like some kind of transplant system. No, not a transplant. They should have a thing where you can like donate your beard hairs, and then the person you're donating it to will donate some like chin stem cells.
Okay, hold on. No, this is relevant. Listen, Zane, there's another timeline where the one where they all didn't become Vault Hunters, Zane, instead of retiring from Hitman work, doubled down on Hitman work and became the best assassin. And the description for this timeline is that he used, modding technology or whatever to get, to have, better hair, because if you look at that character, he just has better hair. It's down, and it's that kind of, it's, longer, and it's, shoulder length, and it's, that very good-looking kind of hair, you know, like an anime character would have or something. And
Like some kind of Fabio
yeah,
style.
and apparently he did that with weird sciencey shit or whatever. And I'm like, man, your hair didn't really look bad without enhancements. I feel like you could grow it out. Maybe it's receding a little bit, but I don't. Is it receding a little bit? I don't fucking know. I thought his hair was fine.
Enhanced it.
He just
Surgically enhanced it.
He just surgically enhanced his hair somehow. Didn't seem like it was necessary. I like your default hair, but okay.
You will need to reconsider your stance in this case. Perhaps Breaker stance, or Beast stance. Now to tell my Yakuza fans out there. Above all, you will need to reconsider your suspicion of Mr. Will Powers. I mean, this whole thing would disappear. Well, wouldn't disappear, but I feel like this whole thing would fall apart if he could drop charges.
Yeah.
As you say, Your Honor. Or sorry, that sounded like a question. As you say, Your Honor. This trial will be extended until tomorrow. This is the last extension. Do I get to do that? Very well. Court is adjourned.
Nice. October 19th, 2:47 p.m. District Court defended.
I wonder if the reason they...
No.1.
Now, if I recall correctly, more modern judges use a more of like an hourglass shape knocker than a gavel, like a hammer-style gavel, and that kind of makes sense to me just from an ergonomics point of view, because if I were a judge and I would always be trying to figure out where the perfect place to put the gavel is, and that would just be distracting. And I figure that has to go through judges' heads, because if you're not OCD about where you put your gavel, then why did you get a law degree and become a judge? Should be one of the things. Yeah, you should be that kind of picky.
Now I'm just imagining a judge who fidgets with their gavel during a trial.
They have a little hanging. They have a little hook thing that holds it like a sword.
Yeah, there's a cat outside. I guess my sister let the cats out after I rounded them up.
Because that's my thing. I would want a hook thing that holds it. That way, the only time it touches the hammer side touches anything is if it's being struck on the wood.
Yeah, for sure. Whew! That was a close one. Oh, me, I forgot you still existed. I thought you'd left by now for some reason.
We were saved by a hair, but that's all that counts. I thought seriously about going home about 3 times during the trial.
Just vanishing, going back to the spirit world. She
Yep,
does
she
the
just
peace.
does the peace sign.
Yeah, she just does the peace sign.
Lowers her opacity.
Disappears.
Uh,
She's like, Phoenix, let me be clear. Pieces out and disappears.
Let me be clear.
Me too. Really? You both seem so confident. Ha! Maybe I should take up a career in acting. I was ready to pronounce you dead about 3 times back there. Noticing a pattern of 3s here. Me too! Oh wait, that was your line. I'm sorry.
Too. I looked up the quote on this gavel and I didn't find anything, which is very odd. I would have thought that it was a thing that is an inscription on all gavels, or something, but it's not, which actually makes it really cool because I think it goes hard.
Hmm.
We'll get back to that. Oh,
Yeah.
of course. We're kidding.
Are you sure? I wasn't kidding. Phoenix. No, Mr. Powers. We have to go make our final investigation, but I promise you, we'll find the true killer by tomorrow's trial. Right. Thanks. To be continued. Oh wow, we should have just played this to this point last time. We were like a few minutes away from being done with that.
I think we were running it pretty late that night, though.
Were we? If I'd known,
remember correctly.
Yeah, if I'd known we were this close, I would have just kept going until we were done. But anyway,
I read this inscription a few episodes ago, but I for those just joining us, I just really like it. Both on the stand, what is it called? Both on the plinth that you actually hit, and on the gavel is a inscription that says, "Hear the imperative of this moment. As you bang this gavel, be aware that any decision or proclamation made as it is hit is certain."
That's pretty cool.
And yeah, it goes hard.
Yeah, it does go hard. October 19, calling to 7 p.m.
We're still doing that.
Code
Wright and Code Law Offices! I am now reading all of our locations as
the narrator from SpongeBob.
Jack Black, but specifically Jack Black and Tenacious D.
Oh, I'm doing
in the band.
I'm doing the narrator for from SpongeBob, but I'm also being very literal with all the grammar while I do it.
The law offices is so organized, so beautiful. I didn't know until I was like 17 that the narrator was his accent was a subtype of French.
Wait,
and I was like,
really?
oh, I get it now.
I didn't even notice an accent. I watched that show for years as a kid, and somehow him having an accent just did not register for me for some reason.
The sea, so beautiful, so majestic, so wet.
Yeah, I think I just thought he was putting on a voice. I mean, he probably was putting on a voice, but was also French. But to me, it sounded like he was putting on a voice, and that was part of it, and it didn't even really feel French to me for some reason.
Same thing with Dexter's accent is technically a very unusual French accent, but not one you would normally think of.
Yeah. That was.
I actually looked that up, and there were people on Reddits from a zillion years ago being like, "Why does Dexter have a different accent than his parents?"
It's because
someone's like, "Oh, that's just the common thing. If you're a super genius who's smarter, a kid who's smarter than your parents, you have a different accent than your parents. That's the side effect of being a genius character."
Is that how Lifeline and Octane from Apex somehow grew up together, but one of them is very Portuguese and the other is very African?
Sure, why not? I thought. Wait a minute. I thought Lifeline was a Caribbean.
Is she Caribbean?
Jamaican?
I don't.
Honestly, I could.
I could have sworn she was African.
I don't know. I don't know the rules. I don't know if they have Space Australia or not.
I don't. Man, that's a good point. It's important to note that when we refer to them by cultures, we mean relative to our reality. Those cultures don't exist in those games.
I mean, in some settings they do. When we're talking about what was it, Overwatch?
Yeah, if you're talking in Overwatch, yeah,
and a character who speaks in Haitian is actually speaking in Haitian and is talking from Haiti, a real place in their setting.
Yeah, and in the case of Apex, Earth definitely exists in the Titanfall lore, so you could definitely say they all came from that planet. But Lifeline is most certainly not from Africa, nor is Octane in any way from Portugal at all, even a little.
It's but then you have layers down the chain where it's oh, I was from this colony which was diaspora from this place, which was spread from this place, and that came from Portugal.
Yeah, and then you have Borderlands where you got an Indian siren, but India doesn't exist in Borderlands because I don't think there's an Earth in Borderlands. I don't think.
Oh yeah, because there's no Earth in Borderlands, so it's oh, I get the vibe here, but you're from Space India.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from Mumbattan.
Yeah, from Mumbai. I mean, we all know Pandora's just Space Australia, and the moon is somehow more Space Australia? Which is kind of funny, because you go to Pandora and you're like, oh,
Of
this is
course it
Space
is.
Channel. Then you go up to the moon and everyone actually has Australian accents, and you're like, oh, this is just more Space Australia.
It's down under, except for the other time part of the month when they're above the planet, and it's down upper.
Yeah, it's up over.
Up over.
It's up over.
Yeah, that sounds like one of those cheesy jokes from like Futurama, where it's like, yeah, the moon is down under unless it's like in the northern hemisphere because it's rotating.
Yeah.
Your line.
Oh man, that was a close one, huh, Mia?
Really? Too bad. Sorry I missed it.
No, it's just Maya. Maya!
My.
Maya!
So what happened?
Well, I think I've got a pretty good idea of who did it. Now all I need is a motive. And proof!
Oh, good going, Nick.
Under the initial trial system, tomorrow is the last day we have.
Initial trial? What's that for those at home?
That's the new court system they introduced 2 or 3 years ago. We had so many cases in the system, they decided to speed the whole process up.
So under that system, trials have to end in 3 days?
Yeah, pretty much.
I do like how that like kind of explains sort of the plot point where it's like, oh, this is why trials aren't. On one hand, you're like, oh man, that doesn't give you enough time for a trial, whatever. But it gives it more narrative speed, where it's like, oh, this is why we're not like cutting between like months apart, where it's like, oh, we put this trial and we did a recess and then we just left for 2 months and yada
Yeah,
yada.
this would probably become a very boring game if they tried to do it the way that it works in real life.
We realized that there was a series of scandals where people would do crimes and then figure out legal ways of avoiding the trial until they just died of old age. So we thought that was a little cheaty.
Well, we've no time to waste. Examine. It's a nice day outside. The hotel across the way is always full these days. There's the bellboy happily cleaning the room. That guy is a
They're
freak.
so busy they might even hire another person to work there.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. What are you?
There's that poster again.
Poster of an old movie that Mia liked. I was thinking I should go see it myself. Then I realized that the poster doesn't actually say the title of the movie.
Oh yeah,
What?
that was the big mystery.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked it up a few episodes ago, and no one has any what's the word? No leads on, because I assumed that it was based on like a real poster or picture or something of a movie, because like sometimes you see that in video games and such. But no, there's nobody recognizes
The
it.
poster itself, for some reason, gives me like, what was it? I want to say Atlas, not Atlas. Who were the people who made like Catherine and Persona?
Yeah, Atlas with a U.
Yeah. It gives me Atlas vibes for some reason. Like, I feel like if this picture was cleared up, it would have that kind of.
Oh yeah, it would just be
design.
Atlas characters.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
at the cafe or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can see it now. That's gonna mess with me.
It's just Vincent hanging out with his bros in the bar.
What if Vincent? What if there was like what if the bad ending for one of the bad endings for like Vincent is where like people really don't like him, and then he gets like a letter that says like, we're going to change your heart.
Wait, hold on. What is that a reference to?
Persona.
Oh,
The other
see,
game, like-
I never actually got through the.
Oh,
any
you
of the
didn't
Persona
get into the
games.
weeds to.
I
Okay,
didn't get into the weird shit.
it's a Persona thing, but
Persona.
Yeah, I don't.
Persona's
I've
one
only
of those.
played a bit of Persona 5.
Yeah. Persona's on the list of games that I've like started, then stopped, and have to go back to soon. But yeah.
I would probably do. I have the original Persona, and I'd probably want to. I don't know where I'd play it, because I know that I would want to get it the Persona 5 Royal.
Yeah.
Apparently, it was different.
Yeah.
improved.
Yeah. There's like, I think an extra character in there or something. I want to get it on PC.
Secret boy.
Secret
Just an
boy.
extra guy.
Just an extra guy.
Yeah, Lujack, there's an extra character. It's Catherine from Catherine.
Yeah, it's Catherine from Catherine.
I think, did we mention, hold on, did we ever mention this on the stream, or concept of the reversed Catherine, where...
Oh yeah, where it's three Vincent.
It's three guys named Vincent. There's like Vinny, Vincent, and Vince.
Vinny, Vincent, and Vince, yeah.
No, and like an alien or something named like Vin.
Yeah. With like two N's.
Yeah, two N's. You're welcome, Atlas. You gotta pay us.
Yeah, we need royalties for that idea. I fucking swear, if we see a Vincent game 3 years from now with that concept and there's no checks in our bank accounts, I'm coming after you freaks.
As that one joke went, I heard they use my my legal stuff, so I sent them a check with a lot of zeros. Too many zeros. I don't think I put anything with zeros, so they didn't pay me, I think.
Mia's favorite potted plant. Maya has been watering it so much lately, it looks a little swollen.
We also did that joke, where it's just like a muscular plant.
It's just a big, beefy plant. She's either trying to make it grow, or she's perfecting her water torture technique.
Oh no.
Welp.
Is the phone, touchable? Yes, it is.
Mia's desk. Actually, it's my desk
It's
now.
me desk now.
It was mine! Sitting here always makes me feel like a professional. It was me. Who had all the candy?
Here's our, I like our bookshelf. It's so organized, and we keep all of our cases organized by beige, turquoise, and blue.
Yeah, it's great. Great
It
color
would be
scheme.
funny if it was organized by type of case, and that Phoenix wears these dark blue on dark blue cases, but he also wears like the light blue ones and others, and he also has a tan suit.
That'd be cool. There's a
Yeah, this is a murder mystery, so I'm wearing the black suit.
Yeah, black for our mystery case. Murder mystery
He wears
case.
white gloves. Yeah, he's like he basically is dressed like a butler. It's got coattails and everything.
Man, the white gloves is like a look that it's that like episode of the Looney Tunes show where Bugs needs to get new gloves and he's like,
Which
I need
everyone's
white,
seen.
yeah, which everyone's seen, obviously. But it's like, I need a pair of white gloves to wear. Mine got shrunk in the dryer. Oh, we don't sell white gloves for men anymore. Why not? Because it's not the 1950s.
Okay, I don't know if it's ever explicitly said in that show, but I'm under the assumption that the reason why Daffy is crashing at Bugs is because they know each other, and that he and Daffy somehow doesn't have money, but that the reason why Daffy has like a pretty nice house but is also not working. My assumption was always that they used to work at Warner Bros or something, and somehow Bugs got all the big deals and commercials, events and stuff, and book signings, and that's why he has residual amount of money.
That would be funny. Also,
But I don't know if it's ever explicitly said.
It's not. That's not. Bugs has a big house because he invented the carrot peeler, and that just made him have money forever.
Sure, why not?
That's why he has a big house.
He also made a lot of money doing that commercial, you know? I like it.
Deffy has so many weird... Oh yeah, I like it! Dude,
Guy
no,
over
okay,
here,
hold on.
everyone, you have to see Looney Tunes. It's so great. I make a Looney Tunes reference.
It's so great.
And the wheels are turning.
Okay, but imagine that Monster Boy, 20 years later, and he has a music career. Gossamer. Imagine that guy 20 years later with the music career, and they're like, oh, what was one of the biggest moments in music for you? And he's like, oh man, when I was a kid, I was in a talent show, and you know that I Like It Rabbit guy from the commercial? Well, he popped
in the
in.
back row.
He was in the back row, and he heard my song, and he went, "I like it," and then he started.
And he started clapping, and everyone clapped.
Everyone clapped, and that was the day I knew that I was gonna be a music artist
and
for the rest of my
everyone
life.
in the audience to that interview is like, I don't believe that for a second. No, this isn't one of those and everyone clapped things. It's like, but it happened. I was there.
But it happened. I was there. Obama
Ask
was
Bugs.
there.
He was there.
The I like it guy was there.
Yeah, I like it. Like, instead of just calling him Bugs.
Instead of just Bugs, he's the I like it guy. Sorry, we're playing a game. There's a horrendous amount of illegal books here. Scarier still is the thought that I have to read all of these now.
Oh, what's this? Maritime law? Oh, that would be it. That would be like different types of law where it's like, this trial is about copyright law, but you still have to like find discrepancies in the arguments.
Oh yeah. Alright, the Steel Samurai. I don't get it, Maya.
Oh.
Why would Mr. Hammer steal the Steel Samurai? No, wait, hold on. Why would Mr. Hammer steal the Steel Samurai costume?
What? You mean that Mr. Hammer was wearing the costume? Wait. Oh, right,
because she was
there but not there, because
she was
basically unconscious while channeling.
She was possessed. Just say possessed. She was possessed. We all know what that was. It was a possession.
Yeah, well, she was channeling.
Not a possession. She was
funny
channeling her. So that hold on.
I don't normally associate channeling with also like missing information. I always think of it as like, you know, what's it called? A conference call.
Yeah, but like, can you really call it possession if it's actually the person channeling the spirit and not the spirit just taking over the body? Like, is it still considered possession?
No, it's a verb thing where it's Mia is possessing, Maya is channeling.
Oh, okay.
Now, possessing is kind of more of a loaded word, and I agree there, but yeah. Which, like, for those at home, makes sense because, well, she's she's like a shrine girl, and that's one of her things.
Yeah.
I think is kind of neat.
She's a shrine girl doing shrine girl things. And as much as I hate Mia being dead for, like, the whole game, I do like the whole idea that she still comes back by getting channeled through his sister. And...
What if we made a show that was like a reverse psych, where it's someone who can talk to ghosts, like Ghost Whisperer? They can talk to ghosts and get all the info, but the police don't believe in ghosts, and so they have to come up with like Sherlockian excuses to how they deduce the information. Everyone who knows about Psych will know what I'm talking about. Just reverse Psych.
I know nothing about Psych. I don't even know what that is.
I thought I told you about Psych on the phone the other day.
You probably did.
It fell out of my brain. Wait, hit the button and I'll tell the audience about Psych.
Alright, yeah!
But Mr. Hammer was the victim, Nick. Why did he go through the trouble of stealing it?
That's what we have to find out!
Psych was a show that ran for, I think it was like several seasons, even though you'd think it would only have one. But it was a show about a guy who has that Sherlock ability to like zoom in and enhance on little details and put them together. Yeah, and he's like crazy smart. But he's a little too smart, and it always makes people like nervous and suspicious that he's involved with whatever the crime was. And so the first time that he gets involved in like a crime scene, and he's explaining how, and he's like figured it out, he panics and he's like, "Oh well, it's because I channel the ghost. I channeled the murder victim, and they just told me." And the police are like, "Yeah, that makes sense." And the next several seasons are them just covering up his Sherlock abilities by saying that he channels ghosts. And I'm like, one, that's great. Two, what about a reverse Sherlock where they can't reveal that ghosts are real? Like, it's just Ghost Whisperer. Oh, and if there's one thing I learned from all the seasons of Ghost Whisperer, because I used to watch bits and pieces of it with my mom, is if you had the ability to talk to ghosts, here's my advice for everyone. If you had the ability to talk to ghosts and you need to talk to a ghost without seeming like you're crazy, just pick up your phone. Just start talking with your phone to your ear.
Yeah, I can't believe like, no one's ever done that in this show.
Yeah, and it's funny because there was just a barely amount of overlap between Ghost Whisperer the show and the invention of those annoying Bluetooth headset things.
Aha,
So like that
nice.
hadn't quite reached like saturation where it's like, oh, I'm just talking into an earpiece. You don't have an earpiece. Dang it. Nope, I'm just crazy. Sorry, bye.
Just crazy, sorry, but
But yeah,
the way
picking
you
up a phone,
the
perfect.
way you describe this show makes me think of Monk, and Monk is one of those
Well,
shows
yeah,
that I enjoyed as a kid, but also had no understanding of like OCD or neurodivergencies. Like, I mean, I have them, but that doesn't mean I understood them when I was like 14 years old watching cable TV. And Monk is one of those shows that I don't know if it like aged poorly and has become something that just has a crappy representation of this thing, and if it's one of those types of shows, or if people still like it and it holds up somehow.
I do like. Well, if I recall correctly, I don't know. It wasn't. It. I never
Because it very
saw
easily
that
feels
much
like
of Monk
some.
itself, but cultural osmosis wise, I remember like that was a common denominator. Whenever I was like, oh yeah, I just make sure that my hands are clean. It's like, oh, like that Monk kind of thing, where like that was how people like knew the concept of germophobia, or just like if you have some kind of OCD,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it's like that Monk thing.
Yeah, it's like the Monk thing.
I had a realization though that like you have to make sure that there's one of those characters every 15 years or so, just keep the culture aware. Because then
Yeah.
if you lose it as a cultural touchstone, then people are like, I don't get what that is,
Yeah, yeah,
unless they have it.
yeah. Yeah. Did Monk age poorly? Let me know in the comments. Currently non-existent audience.
Oh yeah, I would like to know how that turned out.
Yeah.
The director's alibi.
Your line!
Oh, sorry. I expected that to be your line for some reason.
You would think.
You would think. What happened with the director's testimony? I do like how Maya not knowing means that it's a good recap.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Also, I don't know
If
why,
you played this all in one chapter, all the answers are really obvious. But if you're like us and you were streaming it and you got back to it weeks later, then yeah, this is really useful.
it's very less obvious.
And it helps you like concrete it in your brain.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I don't know why, but her face, the way it's drawn here, is really funny to me for some reason.
It's because her lips are slightly like larger than you would expect, like wider.
Is that what it
like
is?
The line, it's just a solid line that's
The
like a frown thing. Yeah.
I like the nose because it's like you can see it. Like it looks
It's
like
very
a real
subtle.
nose.
Yeah, it doesn't.
But
It doesn't use lines. It uses the careful shading.
Yeah,
to
it
do
uses
yeah.
careful shading to like. It's really cool. But yeah, her mouth is.
So what happened
just...
with the director's testimony?
Oh yeah. Well, it's pretty clear that the producer and the director were both in the trailer.
Huh.
Which means that the killer has to be one of them.
Right, because they were both. If they both, I'm trying to remember the timeline, but if they did, if they did kill what's his name and moved him somehow and went back to their trailer, and then the tree fell over, they would still have their alibi, I guess.
If the tree fell over and no one was around to hear it, would they still have an alibi?
Stop it. Really? Why?
Because the real scene of the crime was Studio 2, where that trailer is!
Do you ever wonder if detectives who do a lot of like detective work, like they watch detective shows and they're like, oh well, that's not how that works, but sometimes it gives them like an idea where like, huh, actually that would work if someone like moved the body here and then did this thing, then that might trick someone. And like it's kind of like when you know a lot of not puzzles, if you know a lot of riddles, then you get better at riddles because you understand how they're structured.
Yeah.
I imagine it's like that, where it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know this situation. What if the body wasn't killed here, it was moved here, and they're just carefully cleaned?
That would
Which is the case. Like, we know that he was wearing, the victim was wearing the Steel Samurai outfit, but was found deceased in the Evil Magistrate outfit.
That could work.
Which like, I don't know how into detailed forensics are, but you think that would be that would show up in the, I don't know, the coroner's
Yeah.
report or something.
Yeah, you
It would
think
be
they
like,
would
hey, I
notice
noticed that he had a hole in his shirt. He had a hole in his shirt that like sort of matched where the hole in his chest was, but there was like no blood at all.
Yeah.
It's almost as if someone like killed him and then switched his outfit out, like some kind of reverse Hitman 47 situation.
Seems pretty fucking suspicious.
It'd be so funny if you could
Feels
give
like-
people clothes.
It's just one of those
In
Dangan.
Hitman.
It's one of those Danganronpa plots where they like.
Yeah, it's a no. I mean, I wanted to avoid saying it, but like, yeah, it's a Danganronpa situation.
It's a
Oh, what if you
Danganronpa.
died here and then they just moved your body somewhere else?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the perfect crime until you get caught. What?
Was Maya always this excitable?
Yes. She's exhilarated from a nice nap, just like I'm exhilarated from all this Gatorade Zero, which I'm not sponsored by.
Well,
I'd be like, oh, are you doing sports? No, it's just that it's very dry and warm in Arizona, and you need to replenish your electrolytes one way or another. 'Cause
yeah.
you can drink as much water as you want, but if you don't have like a little bit of salt, if you don't have enough like salt or magnesium or whatever, then it feels like it just goes. In my opinion, it feels like it goes right through you. Like you drink a bunch of water and then you just have to get up to pee. Like you're not retaining it, and it's because your body doesn't have doesn't have the salt to tell it. Oh, hey, you should absorb this.
Huh. Maybe I should drink more Gatorade. Is that why I'm pee so much?
I mean, if you don't have a good source of salts and you're sweating all the time, that's gonna be why you're just kind of siphoning through water. Yeah, that's why I put some Gatorades in the fridge, because last night I was like, I just went through like 2 bottles of water, and which is good, but like not like immediately, but I was like, I've been going through so much water and I don't feel like I'm hydrated. I feel like I'm just like rinsing myself from the inside.
Man, I was sick once. Had like hives.
No way.
And yeah, I had hives, and I was on medication, and I got put on medication that I had an allergic reaction to, which made it worse, and then the hives got worse. And I also had just like
Double hives.
Yeah, so like I was drinking water, or no, I was allergic to a medication that I think I don't.
Okay, so
I
you
don't
had
remember.
hives though.
So I had hives at one point, and I also had a very dry throat, and was drinking a lot, and I was drinking so much, and not doing anything else because I couldn't, that I was just peeing constantly. Like, it was so bad that I would get up, go to the bathroom, pee, come back out to the kitchen, and then immediately turn around and go back to the bathroom and pee again. It was really annoying.
Oh no.
It was really, really annoying. Hives sucks. Don't get hives.
Editor put up a caption that says Lou Jack after having an allergic reaction, and it's just Larry Trainer from Doom Patrol. Completely mummied up.
Just mummied up.
You know what's weird? I know that I had hives at one point, like just one. I know I had it once, and only once, and but it was when I was so young that I don't remember what it was. I've been allergic to a few things, but I have no idea what I was actually allergic to that time.
I had a brush with a weird, like, plant thing at work once that caused an allergic reaction. It made me break out into itches and red spots. And to this day, I have no idea what that plant was. I knew at the time, but I can't remember what it was, and it hasn't happened since, really.
I mean, it's probably either poison oak or poison ivy, although I think poison oak would be more likely in this environment.
Nobody else was reacting to it, though. Because it was something that we were
I can
all
answer that
messing
too.
with.
Oh, I can answer that too. This happened on Mythbusters one time. They're trying to do tests for, I think it was like for like homemade cures and stuff for poison ivy. But here's the thing, it's kind of a crapshoot where poison ivy, traditionally you want to avoid it because there's a chance that you're allergic, not guaranteed that you're allergic. And typically you find out if it touches you, and if it touches you and it makes you all rashy, congrats, now you know. But there's a chance that you're just not. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool perk to have. And they had a hard time doing the test on Mythbusters because the entire crew that was working for them just by pure happenstance, like only one of them was actually susceptible to poison ivy. Like, the rest of them just had that gene that just turns it off.
That's so funny.
It's like, oh, the one time we need people who are susceptible.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's also become my my call to joke when something has an allergy, where it's like, oh, I'm allergic to this thing, and it's like, oh, well, I don't know if it's in this material, but is it like poison oak? You could rub it on your arm and see what happens. Like, that's the safest way to tell without getting it in your body.
Yeah. Well, have you noticed anything that might help us?
I noticed this pilot light, or this warning light, and it sure is a big one. Beep. I can't see what's going on when Mia is here. I hope Mia took like some lawyer notes for Maya to read.
I feel like, yeah, I hope so too.
So no, I haven't noticed anything.
Right. That is a funny moment though. It's like, did you notice anything? I was unconscious the whole time. Oh.
This would be way more useful if they could work together, but maybe that's at least partly the limitation to keep her from being too powerful, is that she just doesn't gain information while she's channeling, so it becomes a bit of a you have to like catch her up on whatever happened.
There was a moment like that. There was a moment like that on Witcher. I was playing Witcher alongside M, actually. We have the games, and we've been playing them like together and experiencing them.
And I was like, but it's not a two-player game.
I mean, she plays it and I play it, and we talk on Discord about it.
Separately at the same time.
Separately at the same time, which is what I was trying. Yeah.
Concurrently.
Yeah, concurrently. And she Geralt has amnesia in the first game because like a big thing happens and he can't remember anything. So later on, there's like people explaining things to him, and M has like a weird little goblin brain that has her like clicking on dialogue cues like out of order for some reason. So she like has people explaining things to him that you think he would know, and she goes, wait, why wouldn't he know all this already? But then not until the end does she goes up to like the very first talking point that references him having amnesia, so no, he wouldn't, and she's like, alright, amnesia.
Which, I'm not going to blame the player on that. I gotta say, there is that I believe that's a compulsion on that players have, because typically, if you have a series of dialogue options, especially in older games, whatever the first one is, progresses the like dialogue tree, and the other ones don't, but give you more information.
Yeah.
And games nowadays, even with that game, players have that assumption. So games nowadays, if you're building a game and you have your dialogue tree, if you have something that doesn't like force a roll, or something like your relationship changes or something like that, make sure that you have an icon that lets you know, like, oh, this is a harmless question that will get you back into the dialogue tree, and not something that like it'll just break dialogue and they won't talk to you.
Yeah, it's like one of those gamer instinct things, like going to the left side of the screen and like a side scroller first before going anywhere.
Going to the right, it should be the first one, but because it's going to the right, you go to the left to see if there's any goodies there.
Yeah, exactly. And Hollow Knight, I think, actually did do that, if I recall correctly. Because I did that in Hollow Knight and was like, oh, cool, a thing. I'm pretty sure, I think that happened. I might be making that up. Anyway.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Oh,
Maybe we should talk to WP, Will Powers, which I'm realizing now that Phoenix Wright has reversed initials of PW, and neither of them are pronounced that way because it's Phoenix, right? Right? Like if it was phonetic, it would be FR.
Dude, you're right. That's crazy.
Hill Powers.
WP.
Smug Druggles.
WP Powers, right? Alright, let's see. Where should we move
So now we've got it narrowed down. As per usual, for those at home, typically the first step in any trial is getting enough information to show that your person isn't guilty. But because the trials are weird, and I understand that as a plot convenience, because the trials are weird, you also basically have to figure out, well, what actually happened and who actually did it. And typically, they'll be in like 3 acts where it's my person is innocent, we figured out more of what happened, and I figured out who actually did it. And we're kind of in that last little bit where we know that Will Powers was likely asleep. We know that he was. We have a suspicion that his steak was poisoned, and that's why he was extra asleep. And that Jack Hammer stole his outfit, walked in front of the camera, went to Studio 2, and this is not too much conjecture, but I think that he was like, "Hey, look, I can play the Steel Samurai," and then the director was like, "No, how dare you!" and just like murdered him. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but like just timeline wise, it works. Where it's like someone just pushed him onto the garden spike, and then he died, and they're like, "Quick, we have to hide this somehow," and then they just changed his clothes and brought him over to the Studio One, and left him there.
Yeah. Yeah, sure, why not? I could see that.
Now, I don't know how that works out with the when the tree fell or all that, but at least it puts it together.
Okay, but listen, this guy looks like. I mean, yes, you're right. Not to very violently change the subject, but like this guy, the way this guy looks with his hair, he always looks like he's about to go Super Saiyan, and I have to wonder if he could do
You say that?
would his facial hair and his chest hair change too?
Absolutely. Yeah, he's actually smuggling a Tribble from Star Trek in his shirt.
I don't know what
No,
that is.
I think characters in Phoenix Wright are always very like not obvious, but in the sense like they can have a secret. It's just that their character design tells you a lot about like how they might sound and what their like deal is.
Oh yeah.
And so I see this guy and I'm like, oh, he has like a very on purpose like lion mane style hairdo. So he has a orange and yellow shirt like jacket. So he probably has like a liony voice.
Yeah.
But he's also kind of like bashful. So he's like a humble lion dude.
Yeah.
He's got good vibes.
Yeah, I like him. I'd hang out with this guy. I would smoke weed with this guy.
No, yeah, I feel like this is a guy who is like, if you're smoking, I'll come over and make sure that you're okay. But I can't. I'm not gonna smoke because then we're just gonna both be trying to explain Naruto to each other and getting confused.
It's just two people. One of them talking about Kakuro, the other one talking about Shino.
Which is why Lujek and I there's a certain amount of high that I told Lujek only one of us can be that high at any given moment.
Dude,
I don't get high often, and I just haven't in the longest time.
Dude,
It just kind of makes me anxious.
I
learned that we can't both be high because then we're just confused for like 3 hours.
I have only seen you legit high, I think, once in the entire time I've known you, and you almost spent the night on my couch.
Oh yeah, I got up at a like the stories of old of a moose eating a fermented apple and just like passing out.
You were just talking and talking like non-stop talking, and I was like,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it made sense at the time, and then it was like 11:30, and I was like, all right, I am become lucid enough to understand traffic signals, and I will be going home now.
I should probably leave.
Not Normandy. What the heck? Yeah, Colonel Shepard.
Oh yeah, I should go.
I should go.
Oh man. Yeah, oh man.
You say that's one of the handfuls of time. One of the few times. I think I've only gotten seriously high like 3 times ever.
Oh yeah, no, I said it was the one time I've seen you high, not the.
There's like a bell curve where if both of us are at a certain saturation point, then it's like neither of us really get what the other is trying to say. Like one of us has to be lucid. That's why it's like if you gotta warn me if you're gonna be high, because I know I have to be extra aware to counter it.
You gotta make sure that I don't get too distracted that I forget what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Like,
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, okay. Yeah, you ever get so high you just start speaking in like ancient Enochian, and your buddy's like, "Hold on, let me write this down."
you like
Okay.
you start mixing up your fandoms in different fictional languages. You're like speaking.
Yeah, and then Doctor House is never gonna get off that island.
You're like explaining Star Wars in Klingon. I've never even seen Star Trek.
Never even seen Stargate. All right, like click the button.
October 19.
Let me do it this time.
Okay, fine.
October 19th, detention center, visitors room. So majestic.
So majestic. Mr. Wright, you did very well again today. Thank you. Oh, thanks. Could you not look like you're about to burst into tears? I am an emotional man and I have feelings.
Willpowers. Try not to cry. Cry a lot.
Lay down, try not to cry. Cry a lot.
Oh, Nick. There's a really loud in there.
And could you wipe that grin off your face?
Editor, can you edit off the it's just like a little pixelated hand slowly goes across the screen, and then just like there's no mouth behind it. Hey WP, only one day left.
What if she called him a Whoop? Hey Whoop, what's up Whoop? I would call him Whoop.
Let's make it count.
If he was okay with it. If he was annoyed by it, then I wouldn't. But yes. Though there's not really anything I can do to help.
I'm not really sure what I can do either. I didn't see that nodding animation very often.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. Please, this is no laughing matter. Just Will and Maya both being like, well, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, and Phoenix being like, oh, so I'm on my own, I guess. Cool, thanks.
Hey, Timmy. Timmy, shush.
Producer Vasquez. Could you tell me more about Miss Vasquez? Hello, puppy!
And Mr. Chims is a little riled up. Hey, it's okay.
Riled up, puppy.
It's okay.
Oh, the producer? She's well respected in the industry.
I haven't seen that movie. No, it's the producers.
I was gonna say, that's not what that is.
I'm trying to remember that joke where it's like, where I love the concept that like every Batman has their like defining moment, but they also have their defining moment of what movie they were watching with their parents that is calculated by when their Batman movie takes place minus X amount of years and what movie was coming out in that actual year. So like the original Batman was watching like The Mask of Zorro, but it's like, oh, this one would have been watching I don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with his parents or whatever.
Oh yeah. That is tricky because like the movie's something that you have to change throughout the years. Otherwise, if you don't, then it becomes a thing of like, okay, well, how much time has passed and how old is Batman? And then they get all like, well, he's not allowed to be older than 30, and everyone's like, well, he could be if y'all weren't so weird.
It could be, but here's how you get around that. Okay, here's how you get around it. Make it that it's always The Mask of Zorro, and that just as Batman was both inspired as a character and in the meta inspired as a superhero from Zorro, make it that in the DC universe, The Mask of Zorro is really popular and keeps getting rebooted, and so there's always some version of it that him and his parents are watching in every version of Batman.
Okay, yeah, I like that idea.
It's like, yeah, I was watching the 2011. Like, it's just the same. Like, even Terry McGinnis was watching, like, Neo Mask of Zorro.
Terry McGinnis walking out of the theater with his love interest, whose name always escapes me for some reason. Like, wow, that's
very
Zorro
unshway of you. And
yeah.
Also, I do not remember because my brain is salad.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think the only other character name I remember right now is Max, and I don't even know if that's the actual name, but it's the pink-haired girl who's really cool that he's friends with.
Yeah.
She's the girl I
like
would
her.
be dating.
Well, I mean, I think yeah, that's fair. I think everyone can vouch for that because she's the cool, like smart, like gadgety one,
Yeah.
but she has cool hair.
Let me be very clear. I don't mean she's the one I would be dating to mean that, like, oh, I could totally get her. I mean that as in, oh, if I had any kind of shot with someone who was that cool, that's who I would be going out with.
Clearly. Oh, sorry, you're lying.
Yes, she's well respected in the industry. I mean, like, age appropriately. Obviously, these characters are in high school, and I was in high school when I watched this show. Don't get weird.
Don't get weird about it.
Anyway, she's.
I know what you mean.
Yes. Anyway, moving on. She's well respected in the industry. They say she's a genius. My controller turned off.
Dude, I just had a moment. I was like, what if this seems like a dream you would have? You know how in Kids Next Door, they're kids next door, and they can't be adults, and they basically like your mind is like reset when you become an adult, or in some rare cases you become like a double agent who becomes a teen, but like is like an informant for the kids.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking like there's this like big sadness where it's like, oh, like you can't be with us anymore because like you're not in the age thing. It's kind of like, you know, aging out of the system or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, what if that was a plot line in Teen Titans where like whoever was the oldest Titan, well, they were all like, oh man, if you age out, you can't be in the Teen Titans because, you know, you're turning 20 this year.
Well, see, that's why they just rebranded to Titans. That's why DC Rebirth had a whole series that was just Titans, and it was Titans as adults, and they actually had Teen Titans coexisting with them too, which I thought was cool.
I like to imagine, well, considering that there was a Titans West, I like to imagine that they made Titans West, and there were more guys, and then they realized that they could rebrand it Titans East.
We're the Titans.
And they're like,
East.
oh yeah, it's just Titans East because they were the Teen Titans. They're not all teens, and now they're East.
Now they're East, just Titans East. Oh wait, that was your line.
That's
I forgot to read it.
Oh, a genius! I saw it on the local replay.
Okay, good.
Your line?
She's been at Global Studios for 5 years now. Right or wrong, nobody dares tell her different these days. Why is that? Ever since she came on board,
a curse on you
she curses you
with hexes.
No, it's like
She's an evil enchantress who does evil dances.
No. It's like no. It's the opposite. You think it's gonna be like that, but he's just like, oh, she curses you. What, like with like hexes and spells? No, she just like swears a bunch.
She just has very foul language.
It's really angry.
It's very hurtful.
Ever since she came on board, we've had nothing but hits. Global Studios was on its knees, but she picked it up and made it shine. Oh, and
before it was only local studios. And what?
Nothing. Forget it. I've only heard rumors anyhow. Well, we're dealing with the legal case that could determine your fucking
Bro,
future.
we need every rumor we can get.
Tell us.
If suddenly you're like, oh well, actually, I thought that she died in South America in 2009, but that was untrue. Like that's still something, and we could look into it and figure out that it was untrue.
Yeah. Come on, dude.
Everyone like, what the heck are you talking about? So I'm trying to, just going off the top of my head, I was trying to think of the real life, the source of the term Mandela effect was because people thought that Nelson Mandela died when it was actually that he was in a prison in South America, but they just assumed that they assumed, not only assumed that he was dead, but also that like they're like, oh, I could have sworn I saw a thing that like he had died on the news or something, and then he came back and then he died.
Nah, he just ended up in an Albanian prison after lying to try to get out of going to an annoying peach festival with his friend.
That is too deep of a deep cut, Lujay. Two people are gonna know that reference, and one of them works for Warner Brothers.
Bring it back to Looney Tunes.
Dude, can you imagine if we were just doing a stream and like the one like celebrity voice we get is like specifically like Marvin the Martian or something?
I'd fucking die.
I'm a Martian.
With the I've got a laser, and it's pointed at your planet.
Pointed at your planet. I got a laser, so don't take me for granted.
I fucking love Marvin. Director Manila, can you tell me anything about Can you tell me anything about Mr. Manila, Mr. Powers, sir? Please stop sweating so much. Oh, he used to be a minor straight to video.
Yo, everyone.
He used to be.
Just put that on like a tabloid. This just in. Joe Biden used to be a minor. At one point, he may have even been an infant.
At one point, he may have even been inside of a womb or something. Probably doesn't remember that, though. Oh my god.
Legend says that his entire existence is only up to these two people, and it's just like a picture, like a black and white photo of like his actual parents. Yes, that's typically how it works.
It's typically how aging works.
On average, yeah.
Oh, he used to be a minor straight-to-video director. But something in his work caught Vasquez's eye. She brought the Steel Samurai idea to him. Now everyone knows this name Salmonella.
I remember the name.
You will remember the name. You will remember.
I know that's not how the line goes, but that's how the YouTube version goes, and so I had never played the game, so my mental image of Big Smoke is saying like, "Remember the name Big Smoke," and then him like growling.
Yeah. No, see, I was thinking of the Psychos in Borderlands when they're like, "You will remember my name, which is Salmonella," which is
Fine, Lieberman.
My chili recipe dies with me.
Dies with me. Oh man, I love that because like of how like the AI director works. Like it detects when a character dies and can play the line. Like it doesn't require the character to be alive. It can be like a death thing. And so like yeah, they gave bandits. I gotta say, Borderlands 3 definitely had more bandit dialogue as far as like polish goes. That it definitely had a lot more bandit lines that I thought was really amusing.
It was fucking great.
Nothing gives you the precise tone of it than mowing down bandits. Someone that goes, "My chili recipe dies with me."
Chili recipe dies with me. So good. I hear he's pretty much at her beck and call though. Whenever she says jump, he asks how high and all that. I can imagine him being at her beck and call, though I can't imagine him jumping.
He didn't put any points into jump skill.
Nah.
He is whatever the opposite of Mad Hops is. I'm guessing it's Bad Hops. Mr. Hammer?
Mr. Hops?
When all you
Mr.
have is a
Bad
Mr.
Hops?
Hammer.
If I had a hammer. Hammer, meat, nail.
I was wondering about Mr. Hammer. The frame rate went really down, so it just said he, and then it just like froze dramatically. He was a big star back in the day, right? But then he just dropped off the face of the earth. Oh man. Wait! It's coming back to me. Sort of. That I don't know what it was precisely, but like he was in some kind of trouble, and what's her name was like, I could get you out of trouble, but now I have like blackmail, and so now I have like leverage.
Right.
And that's why he was even though he was a really good actor, he just played whoever he needed to play.
Makes sense. Oh, yes, you're right. In fact, he was my role model when I started in this business. I think I remember who did this, but I can't remember, like, how, you know? I can't remember what pieces fit together quite.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I'm really excited for when we get to a part that we hadn't played. Like, we had played this but like a zillion years ago, so like I'm really excited for ones that we haven't played where I'm like, oh, this is brand new, and also I don't actually know how this goes, so like this is new to me.
Yeah. I'm excited for that too. But he just dropped. But he just stopped taking on big roles. That's when he began appearing in little productions at Global. Blah!
How could he do that? I was really looking forward to a sequel, Samurai Summer, Samurai Autumn.
When as autumn colors fall. Shout out to anyone who knows that song.
Sorry, I do not.
Yeah, it was from Over the Garden Wall. I don't know if
Look,
it was
I
me.
need you to wake me up when September ends. I need you to wake me up before you go. And you gotta wake me up inside.
Thank you. I can't wake up!
There's a reference to that in OKKO, which is one reason why I say it's one of the best cartoons in existence.
That's awesome. He just gave up being a star 5 years ago. Actually, now that I think about it, that was right when Miss Vasquez came to Global.
You don't say.
Well, that's suspicious. 5 years ago.
Wouldn't you know? It'd be a great backstory for one of these trials if there was like another trial, but it kept being postponed, and so they gave up. And it's like, oh, well, why are you doing it now? It's like, well, now we have these fast trials, which means like that if I bring enough information, they'll have to take it to trial, and they can't postpone it.
Yeah, crazy how that works. Do you want to do it? Do you
Oh yeah,
want to do it again?
October 19th, Global Studios main gate. Old Windbag sure is quiet today. This place is really peaceful like this. It's just me when no one's home.
I like that you're dubbing over her ellipses with just grunts. I like the idea she's just like.
I feel obligated to make a sound so it registers.
Yeah, but I feel like it fits her specifically though, because she seems like someone that would just be grumbling constantly.
My heart goes out to those voice actors that they would need to do lines for a character who is just like open mouth reacting to something, and so they're like, okay, can you give me a shocked gasp? Okay, can you do that, but like for like 5 seconds straight? Because we have this reaction shot, and it's got a bunch of streaky lines in the background, and I need you to react for at least 3 seconds. All right, peaceful like this. Nick, I think her guard's down. Unintended?
Maybe. Yeah, I hope so.
That we could even eat those. That we could even eat those donuts in the guard station if we wanted. You eat, you die.
I love Maya's just trying to get a reaction out of her. Maya has that same energy.
No, I was gonna say, for a moment I was like, it'd be hilarious as if you dressed up as one of those the Beefeater guards at the Royal Palace, and then when a tourist went up to bother you, you like freaked out and like barked at them, and then I was like, yeah, but guaranteed there's like 5 different laws against impersonating a Beefeater guard or a Royal Palace guard, even in jest. So
probably
said. There's probably at least one. I'm gonna someone in the UK. Let me know if there's a law against standing near the palace, acting like a palace guard, so you can confuse tourists by not acting like a guard.
Yeah. I was gonna say that Maya has like the same energy towards Olbig right now that like Anakin and Obi-Wan have towards Dooku that time that they got like handcuffed to him when Hondo Naka was trying to find people to sell them to. It's like, Anakin, mind your insolence. the Count is trying to concentrate. Oh, I'm sorry. You know how old he is and how difficult it is for him to concentrate.
That's me, who's also seen the episode where he fights like the entire Night Sister coven. It's just
Yes, but if Anakin and Obi-Wan have an opportunity to make fun of Dooku, then they should
I'm
make
just
fun of
saying that, like,
Dooku.
the more you know about Dooku, the more ridiculous his character gets.
Yeah, I want a Dooku show. Is that weird?
One of the maybe, but I think the one extra bit that I think is really funny about his character in the like the grand scheme is that, like, him existing as a with Sith powers, but not necessarily as a Sith Lord. He exists in spite of the Emperor. Because sure, eventually the Emperor's like, oh yeah, this is part of my plan, but like there's supposed to be a rule of two, and the Emperor and at some point or another, Dooku learned Sith powers and then just left and went to do other things.
Yeah,
And we know the Emperor was trying to get an apprentice with Anakin,
dude.
like during the Clone Wars, which means he wasn't doing the whole Rule of Two thing. He
Dude,
just didn't count Dooku as his apprentice anymore, which means Dooku basically got away with that. It's really funny because it's like if the Rule 2 only works if the apprentice tries to kill the master. If they just leave, then you have to like go chase them down, I guess.
There's a meme. There's a Star Wars meme where it's like Dooku and like a teacher telling him where he went wrong, and it's like, so you see here, the Sith state that there is a rule of two, right? Yes, that is correct. And you are here trying to like get Anakin to join the dark side to become an apprentice.
Is it Mobius from the Loki show where he's like replaying parts of
No,
parts of Dooku's life?
no. It was just Dooku and like some stock footage of a teacher lady.
All right.
Think, but,
I can see it that way, though.
But yeah, and it's like, so you see how here, by trying to add another Sith, you subtracted yourself, and it just cuts to like Dooku with that look on his face, realizing that he like basically brought about his own destruction.
To be fair, though, like the Clone Wars, I don't know how many like years the Clone Wars are, but it feels like a long time. And the irony of all of that is that the Emperor was trying to recruit Anakin fairly early on, and fairly early on during the Clone Wars, right? So he was already like, oh yeah, I'm just going to bypass the Rule 2. I don't have an apprentice because mine ran off. It doesn't count. I already picked up my apprentice insurance, filed him as lost or missing. But Dooku, with his skills, started training Asajj Ventress, who is a double whammy because not only would she technically have Sith powers, but Dooku himself could easily make a case that, oh, well, I taught her lightsaber fighting styles, but she never learned Sith techniques, and all of her other lightsaber training was from the Night Sisters, who their entire existence has nothing to do with the Rule of Two. There, right? He's got the legal loophole.
Yeah, and the Night Sisters in general just exist as these weird dark side conduits for some reason. Honestly, I don't think that's even like a fault of theirs, because you play Jedi Fallen Order and you meet a Night Sister and she turns out to be chill. She's still a weird fucking Dark Force lady person. I mean, I would imagine. Like, she's been doing weird what? Fuck, can't remember what their planet is called.
Dathomir.
That one, weird magic, yep. Which is all based in, like, weird Dark Force shit.
But, like, I didn't realize it until I was explaining it, that, like, that Palpatine kind of set up a chain reaction where if there's a Rule of Two, but the apprentice just leaves and does their own thing, then it falls apart. But also, both the master and apprentice started training their own apprentices. I mean, the Emperor's like, well, it doesn't count because I lost mine, and Dooku's like, well, it doesn't count because I'm a Duke, not a Darth. I don't follow your rules.
Yeah.
Whoa, she's alive.
Yeah, I'm a Count. Well, he was a Darth, though. He was called Darth Tyrannus.
Yes, he was a Darth, but he didn't go. But like, I think it's important to note. Maybe it's just a quirk of Star Wars, but I think it's important to note that like the reason why Darth Tyrannus or whatever is like sage knowledge is that he didn't go by Darth Tyrannus, which implies that when he went to do his own thing, that he was like, yeah, I'm Count Dooku now. I'm not with the Darth thing because I'm no longer part of the what is it the Sith system.
Yeah. Did you read the
'Cause-
line that I just clicked away from, or did I
Oh,
click away from
sorry.
it before you read it?
Let me see.
Because
While
I
she's
already
alive.
clicked
Oh,
away
I
from
got the
it.
replay here.
Okay.
Oh, she's alive.
Okay, yeah, that's it. That was
Hold
listening.
on. The feed's like 12 seconds behind.
Well,
I think.
I think that was the last
Hold on.
line, wasn't it?
I don't think she said anything. Yeah, it was just when she's alive.
Yeah. All right. With that, we should wrap up. But before
It's
that,
9:30.
earlier I was talking about the Borderlands 3 story. I wanted to make a point about something. The only real egregious thing I find about it is the shit with Ava at the end. Other than that, like, I like the idea of villains who are streamers, getting to see all the to uncover all the history about Nereid having, and her experience with the Iridians and Typhon existing, and then getting to meet them. Like, overall, I feel like Borderlands 3's story was mostly solid. I think people, for some reason, just have a weird problem with the villains being streamers for some reason, and also the Ava thing. Like, those are the two things I hear people complain about the most. Everything else feels pretty solid, though.
One thing that I think, I don't know, if it's been a while and I don't know how much of this is on purpose, but I love the concept of, like, you look at Borderlands, and it's called Borderlands because it's along the Borderlands. Border of what? We don't know, but we know that, like, Pandora in particular is like this RimWorld planet where shenanigans happens. But I love the concept that in Borderlands 3 you're going to multiple planets, but you're going to the like RimWorld parts of those planets, which is why you start going to like these little like war zones and weird swamps and like the sewers of like a mega city. Like
Yeah.
it's places that are still like a little out of the way, that have their own local problems and their own local like bandits and junk.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
It just works.
yeah, it's pretty cool getting to see like different villain types depending on like where you are. Cause like at one point the COV will usually pop up because the Calypsos are always showing up and trying to get all this stuff. But like usually like you go to Promethea and it's just a bunch of corrupted crime bots and like just bandits who live on Promethea. Because there's just a whole section of bandits on Promethea that all are there too. But like it's also just a bunch of crime bots and shit, and that's neat. Like,
no, they were originally called crime bots because they were supposed to stop crime, but then we reprogrammed them so they could do crime.
I love the lore that, well, yeah, I love the lore that like the crime buster bots came from like Marcy's dad, but was stolen from Gage's death trap design.
Really?
Yeah, because Gage had
Oh, right,
this...
because Death Trap isn't claptrap shaped. He's
Yeah.
like humanoid. But what the heck? Hold on. It said that we had a network error. I'm worried. Okay, wait. Okay, we're back. Okay.
We're back? Okay.
Panic
But-
averted.
Yeah,
We should wrap it up here, though.
we should wrap it up here.
Man,
Anyway.
Borderlands, pretty neat.
Yeah, Borderlands.
Pretty neat.
Love Borderlands. I got a Borderlands brain. Shantae's also very good. I'm still playing Shantae as
It's
well.
not always about the money, Spider-Man. Sometimes it's about Borderlands. Gotta play some Borderlands.
You gotta
Get the
play some
rare
Borderlands,
weapons of the
Spider-Man.
Borderlands.
You know, you gotta sit in your game chair, you gotta turn on your system, and gotta just lose yourself in Borderlands for a bit.
Where does it just cuts to Spider-Man? He's like, where do they make a gaming chair that size though? He's so wide. It's like 6 feet wide. How do they? Anyhow, thank you for watching. I've been Taylor,
I've been Lujek.
and I'm reminding you to take care.
Stay awesome.
Sit in your gaming chair.
And drink water. Bye.
Bye.